Well, this makes for a very interesting read. A sequel that's put on ice. Ooh. This is for The Flash. This is a Variety article. And they've sort of done some digging. They've got some sources. And this is, a very, very interesting read. So it's documenting Ezra Miller, documenting a secret ending that Warner's is trying to preserve, and a sequel to the film, which has now been put on ice. But hopefully, I would imagine, I say hopefully, in their eyes, one that they're looking to resurrect at some point. So they've banked a lot on this film. And just that alone fascinates me, why you would bank so much on someone who isn't really that good, just in general. You know, no one knows who Ezra Miller is, but I guess they thought that this was him jumping into superstardom with this film. But hey, look, let's dive into this today. Fascinating read, genuinely a very, very interesting read. So hit subscribe if you're new here, turn the bell notifications on, and let's check this out. So The Flash, this movie is almost here, and they've been doing a huge marketing push. Huge marketing push. But, as they note here, Ezra Miller has done no press. No press at all. And that's calculated because of his issues that he's been having. I.e., appearing in court in Hawaii for assault and things like that. Being arrested in Hawaii. Not good. Really not good stuff. So he's been making a very, very, very low profile for this press. Done no press at all. But he will make a low profile appearance at the LA premiere on June 12th in 8 days' time. Now apparently he will only pose for photos and will do no interviews. So again, calculated, because they don't want the headline grabbers to be clips of him saying stuff. They can't have it. They have to just no, none of this. It just literally has to be him doing photos. They cannot have any sound bites from him and his issues. So the film's director, Andy Muschietti, and cast members Ben Affleck, Sasha Calle, and Michael Shannon will also hit the red carpet, and that will be missing the standard press gauntlet as well. So they're trying to make it uniformed, which is surprising. Now Michael Keaton and Jason Momoa will miss the premiere because they're in London filming stuff, and New Zealand. Now here's the other interesting stuff. Now they say typically the star of a $190 million tentpole, this is much more than $190 million. So much more. But they say typically a star of that type of film, that caliber, that box office budget, will promote the film in interviews across print, TV, and podcasts spanning multiple continents. Harrison Ford's been doing that lately, actually, for Dial of Destiny, which is crazy, even though his sound bites are hilariously bad. But here's a source close to Ezra Miller. This is what I mean. Interesting read. Ezra wants the movie to open and the conversation to be about the movie and not about Ezra. He is focused on his mental health and doesn't want it to be transactional. Now, you can swap Ezra out for Warner Brothers. It'll be mandated from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is attempting to pull off an unprecedented feat by taking its latest DC offering into the global marketplace without any promotion from Ezra Miller. But you know what's interesting about this is 9 times out of 10, the average Joe doesn't know who Ezra Miller is. So actually, this won't affect that film in any way, shape or form. It literally won't change anything. Because by and large, most people don't know who he is. But he was, of course, incredibly controversial. He had multiple arrests, incredibly erratic behaviour. And they say, well, he stayed out of trouble since last summer after seeking treatment, i.e. getting absolutely torn apart by Warner Brothers executives. But apparently he had complex mental health issues following a time of intense crisis. But will Miller's lack of shilling hurt the Flash's box office prospects? The answer appears to be no. No. Honestly, it won't at all. because no one knows who Ezra Miller is. You go and ask your mother who Ezra Miller is. They're going to go, who? What are you talking about? Go down the pub or the club, wherever it is you may frequent and have a beverage, and ask who Ezra Miller is. No one will know. Him not promoting the film is not like Brad Pitt not promoting a film. No one knows who Ezra Miller is and no one cares. Now here's the interesting thing. The film is only tracking for an estimated $75 million opening domestic. It's not very good. Now they do say that Aquaman went on to earn, had lower than that, but it also went on to earn 1.15 billion. True, yes. But yeah, nah, I don't see that happening with The Flash. But they do say this, and this is what's interesting. So in lieu of Miller's junketing, Warner's has been aggressive with its advertising, putting the film's trailer into heavy rotation during the NBA and NHL playoffs. They're spending a lot of money promoting this film. A lot of money. So Warner's decision to throw one premiere only, just 4 days ahead of the film's release, has raised eyebrows around town. But a knowledgeable source explains that the move had little to do with Miller and was made to keep the secret ending under wraps. The version that screened at CinemaCon in April ended abruptly, with a chunk of the final scene missing. And at screenings on the Burbank lot this week, the final scene was intact. Now, they've actually semi-revealed that scene, apparently. That's already come out, apparently, but who knows. Warner's blurred key elements, and in fact, the final scene was changed multiple times pre-CinemaCon, the source adds. At the height of Miller's PR problems, Warner's was looking to keep its options open with regards to the future trajectory of the Speedster. Now, what does that mean? Swapping them out, probably. So, for additional PR exposure, Warner's is hosting flash screenings without Miller in key cities, including one tonight in London, that Keaton will introduce, as well as events in Toronto, Miami, Buenos Aires, Madrid, Sao Paulo with Machete. And the studio also has launched a massive word-of-mouth screening program with 400 across the United States and Canada. Now that's interesting. So Warner's never announced it. The studio already has a finished sequel script from David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who did Aquaman, if a part 2 is in the cards. Now that script is said to have guest starred Keaton's Batman, Kai's new Supergirl. Machete, for one, wouldn't consider recasting Barry Allen as the Flash. So, i.e., Ezra Miller is the Flash in Machetes. Now, here's an interesting statement from Machete himself, which I've done a previous video on. If a sequel happens, yes, he will be back. I don't think there's anyone that can play that character as well as he did. The other depictions of the character are great, but this particular vision of the character, they just excelled in doing it. It feels like a character that was made for him. Now, this film is not $190 million. Make no mistake, this film was much more than that. They went back for multiple rounds of reshoots. Initially, $190 million, I can believe that, but they essentially went back and reshot the entire film. I mean, they even say here there's multiple endings. And this film has consistently changed. This has been in the can for years, but they've consistently gone back and changed and adjusted things. So, this is an interesting read anyway, just because it's part of mainstream media actually accepting some of the stuff that we've been saying for a very long time. You know, that this is a peculiar marketing push, that they even acknowledge that they're doing quite an aggressive marketing push, which, I mean, that's fairly obvious anyway. Anyone with a set of eyes knows that what they're doing is incredibly aggressive. Just trailers are everywhere, and that's why this $190 million isn't just, you know, this is not the budget of the movie anyway, but the amount of money that they're spending on marketing is insane. It is absolutely insane. And I do wonder, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's not going to affect the film in terms of its, you know, Ezra Miller not being on the promotional circuit for the film. It's not going to affect the film in any way, shape or form, because no one knows who Ezra Miller is. No one knows or cares. But there you go. Secret ending. Apparently $190 million. Pfft. I could believe it's actually more likely close to double that, genuinely. Because Christ, they've spent so long on this film. And you got financiers' interest as well on top of it. So, but what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This was a very interesting read for me. And it's interesting, you know, again, Ezra, no, swap that out for Warner's. Warner's wants the movie to open, and the conversation to be about the movie, not about Ezra. Warners are focused on Ezra's mental health. Fix it, mate. So there is apparently a sequel in the can. I wonder, do you care? And if there's a sequel in the can, is that something, you know, if they're saying, well, we've had a sequel script for a while, I wonder, ladies and gents, if that's something which they can rework into the new DC universe. Let me know what you think. Love to hear it. Do you even care about this film? Cheers, guys. Take care.